Hi everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. Today I'm going to do a little review on a product that I came across on YouTube that's being used by people that build scale models, aircraft and model cars and such. And you all know that I build a few model cars, so I'm always kind of looking at that stuff. But anyway, I ran across it, hadn't seen it before, and it's something that we use in model railroading, but I've never seen it in this form before. And that is the Tamiya or Tamiya, however you pronounce it. I don't know, guys pronounce it all different ways. In my childhood, I pronounced it Tamiya. So that's what I'm going to call it. But anyways, it is a panel line accent color. They have several of these. I think they have a brown, they have a black, they have a gray, and I'm not sure. I think they have one, may have one other color. But I'm just recently finding these Tamiya products or Tamiya products on these YouTube videos, and I've never used them because nobody talks about them in model trains. However, it's a model. Models are models. So I'm going to show you how this works on a building that I'm working on here. It may not be the best display of the use of the product, but we'll get into it, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, this is the product right here, the Tamiya Panel Line Accent color. This happens to be black. Like I said, it comes in, I believe, brown and a gray, kind of a dark gray tone. And I thought there was one other color, but it won't come to me off the top of my head. This is item number 7131, and I'm not exactly sure how much this costs, but a bottle this size would go almost forever in our hobby, or any hobby for that matter. But anyway, it's basically an enamel, from what I understand, an enamel product. It's thinned out black, basically, kind of a greasy black color. And I'll show you how it works here on this building, and then we'll just talk a little more about it. And like I say, we're supposed to, we're getting this for the shop, getting these for the shop. One thing I'd like to say before I get too far ahead of myself is, I like the bottle. You don't have to worry about knocking this bottle over. It is a glass bottle, unfortunately. It would be a lot better if it was plastic, because then if you did drop it, you wouldn't break it. But nevertheless, the fact that it's squat and square, you don't have to worry about knocking the thing over. And I'm thinking about doing a little video on another product. I'll just give you a quick glimpse. It's their cement, their liquid cement. It also is in the same kind of bottle, and I am enjoying that for that very reason as well, but we'll get into that on another video. So let's get started applying some of this and see how it appears. I'm going to try and work around the lights and everything here, but anyway, as I pull this out, you can see that it has a very fine brush tip, and it has sort of a reservoir that holds the fluid inside of it to allow you to control what you're putting on. And we're going to do this door here. Like I say, I'm going to try and work around the camera, and you'll just see how it works. I got the model propped up here on a paint can lid. Now, this building is pretty weathered, and I'm trying to keep it straight here, but this building is pretty weathered, and so I'm going for a heavily weathered look, and I'll try and demonstrate a not so heavily weathered look here in a minute. But you can see here that if you wanted, you could actually dab this on very lightly. It came out a little black there because I think I didn't mix the paint well enough, or mix the bottle well enough. And we're going to put a little just on the top here. And we're also going to do the little doorway. Now, I'm going to put this down for a second. And I'm going to try and reach up here and get some paint thinner. This is, it's actually not airbrush thinner because that would be lacquer thinner, but it's I have mineral spirits in here is basically what it is. And I'm going to find a Q-tip here. And realistically, we should let this dry for a little while. We don't have that luxury while I'm doing the video. So what we're going to do is beat this thing to the punch a little bit. And what you can do with the thinner is you can just work this stuff a little bit. And we're going to work it down from these panel lines on the painted surface. And we're going to work around this door to try and blend the black in a little better. Now, granted, we could do this with an acrylic, but oops, sorry, moved the camera a little bit. We could do this with acrylic, but I really like the control you have with this, because had I let this dry, then it's permanently down in the cracks, and then you can just wipe off the surface. However, like I say, I kind of beat this to the punch, removed a little bit of my acrylic paint here, but nevertheless, you kind of get the idea of what it looked like earlier versus what it looks like now. And let's do something else. Let's get a locomotive shell and give it a shot. Okay, this is a, I don't know, very cheap shell. I don't know, it's off of whatever it is off of, Model Power, some old locomotive. Anyway, you can see that the top is silver and, as usual, kind of just bland looking. But we're going to apply some of this and see if we can liven this up somewhat. The first thing we're going to do is apply it to the fans. And like I say, I get most of it off the brush and apply it pretty sparingly. But you can see how well it goes in the cracks. And this is something that anybody can do. I mean, you know, you don't have to be an expert model builder to utilize this product. And it certainly, as you can see immediately, it certainly brings out and enhances any kind of recess or anything that you want to show that looks like there's nothing behind there, or it has some depth or some 3D to it. Let's go back here and do the exhaust for the steam generator. What we can also do is I can just keep rubbing this brush on the bottle until I get hardly anything, and we can actually go around the panel lines themselves and highlight the rivets and highlight the seam around the panel. It's very, very, as you can see while I'm putting it on, it's very, very subtle. You can make it as heavy as you want, as light as you want. But we're just going to go right along the seam line and the rivet line. And don't worry about getting a splotch on there, because we can fix that once this is dry. But you can see now how the fan housings are starting to pop out at us. I have yet to do this on any of my F units, but when I do start weathering them, which I really need to get to it, but it's one of those things that kind of has been going on the back burner for years. Always thought that I'd do it when I have time to sit down. Well, I don't have time to sit down very much. But nevertheless, we can even do these grab irons. There's some grab irons here on the back, and we can run it along those grab irons to enhance the shadow look of the grab irons. Even though they're not really, they're 3D, but they're down on the surface, you know, they're not separately applied grab irons. Also, I mean, this is time consuming, and you can't really rush this process, but we could do the screens on the side. And you can see how quick and easily this product goes on. And you do have just a little bit of time to work with it also. You know, it's very liquidy. How would I say? Yeah, liquidy, I guess, I don't know if it's a word or not. But anyway, it is very liquidy. And you do have time, if you make an error, to take a Q-tip, if you have one handy, and simply fix your mistake. Or, after it dries, you can go back and fix it. But now you can see how the panel kind of jumps out at you. The fact that it looks a little more see-through. We can do this little portal right here. We can do these vents. Just touch them. Just barely touch them, and you can see how much accent that brings out. We can do around the portholes. Just barely. Ever so slightly. Touch the fans up here. I mean the grills up here. Touch around the doorway. I mean, we could just insanely go crazy with this, really. Now, I've still got a little bit of thinner on the brush, so what I can do is gently wipe around the area. If I think I've gone a little crazy, I also have a dry end. But there you get the idea. Here is, now this one is obviously still wet. Here is a Pennsylvania locomotive, an old shell, that I did the top of, a few weeks ago. And I don't have one to compare what it looked like before, but you can see how it enhanced the look. I did not do the side grills on this, just the roof. But between these two locomotives, you can see how we've achieved a look that's not normally there. Let's try showing you on something else that might give you a little more depth on this. Okay, gang, here's a, I believe this is an Atlas car, yeah. This is an Atlas, little Atlas hopper, cotton belt, obviously. It's one that Gavin had weathered slightly some time ago, actually when he first started weathering. But we're just going to do the steps, or the roof walk. And you can see like immediate results of how this is going to give you a see-through effect on this. And it does look a little bit on the wet side when you first put it on, but once it dries, as you can see on the Pennsylvania locomotive back there, and I'll show you a really close up if I can, or I'll get as close as I can in just a minute. But once it dries, it has a very, very nice pale, dull hue to it. And I really like the way it looks once it's dry. And it's really nice and easy to use. It does have, because it's enamel, I believe enamel base, it does have a little bit of smell to it. I wouldn't recommend hanging out in a paper bag with it or anything, but I consider it to be safe at the workbench, and obviously the EPA did too, or they wouldn't let it in the country. Anyways, you can see that we can do the hatch latches. And like I said, I'm taking a whole lot of material off of or a whole lot of the liquid off the brush before I bring it to the model, because it takes so little of it to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. We can even take it along the weld line here. And you can see already that you have a marked difference in the detail showing up on the model. I probably should do the sides of this just so they don't stand out so starkly. Starkly a word also? But there you have it. Of course, it's not dry, and like I say, once it gets dry, it has this dull luster to it, which is kind of really cool. Let me try and get this up here and hold it kind of still. Roll a little bit there so you can see it. It's just a really nice, not overly shiny luster to it when it gets done. Like I say, it's an oily look kind of. Like I say, I really like it, and I hope you guys can find some use for this stuff. Let's show you one more thing here. Something popped out on this car here to me that most guys, or not most guys, but all of us seem to neglect when we're doing a model, is the handbrake detail. If I put that in the handbrake detail there, you can see how that just brings out the chain link up here, and immediately brings out the brake handle detail. And like I say, it's just so subtle. But when you look at the car and the detail that was originally on the car, it just brings it right out and makes it, I hate the word, but pop. What I was going to do here too, and I don't know if it's dry enough yet, I'm going to take the dry side and I'm going to run over this grate up here on top and just try and take the product off of the high areas. And it's still not quite dry. But you can see how it just enough highlight, just enough, not overdone. Anyway, I just thought I would do this short video. I'm not an expert at this. I just started using this stuff. And like I say, I like it a lot. Let me bring my, before I get out of here, let me bring my building over here and show you that doorway we were doing. because it now has had a little bit of time to dry. If I can get it in the picture here. I'm gonna move all my stuff. You can see that once it dries, it's not that, it didn't look like that blotchy mess that it looked like when I first put it on. It just makes a nice highlight. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that, and like I say, I like the product, and this is what it is, and we will be getting these as soon as they get in stock. And I think we're going to get all the colors. I might mention too, the black works good on dark surfaces. Possibly on this locomotive, I may have used the brown. The brown is a dark brown hue, but it sometimes is a little bit better to use a lighter accent color. I don't know. I mean, I think this looks good, but I would have to experiment with the colors once I get them. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I've rambled on enough, and thanks for watching. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that small review of the Panel Line Accent color. It's just recently been imported into the United States, from what I understand. I'm not sure about that, but that's what I don't know, that's what I've heard on YouTube and so forth. I don't have any firsthand information on that. But nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it works for you. And as usual, thanks for watching.